Welcome to the podcast. My name is David Shanhun, and these are the chats I wish I could have had with someone as I've created life as a full-time musician. If you're on that road and you need a friend, or you need to hear the same stories and struggles that you're going through from another human's mouth, you're in the right place. Connect with me at davidshanhun.com and let's move you into that space where you're really thriving and sharing your gifts with the world. Let's go. All right, welcome to what is going to be the last episode, and we're going to call this season 1, if you like, of the podcast. And the reason I'm making this podcast and the reason I am wrapping this up as a close, if you like, for the time being, is I realized after coming back from Bali, after spending time recording my album, I'm juggling a lot of different things. And I know a lot of you will relate. Often, I feel like most people in the world we live in are in that space to a degree, some of us more than others. And it's part of the nature, I think, now of being a full-time musician. You can find ways to manage and build teams to support what you do, but fundamentally your brain is still thinking about content creation and promotion and your socials, replying to messages, engaging, booking tours, filming videos, recording, writing songs, practicing your instrument, whether that's a voice or a guitar or drums or whatever that is. Turning up and doing live shows if you're doing that. There'll be a stack of things that I've missed, but even in that little snapshot, yeah, you get the idea. So I wanted to jump on and do a last podcast to just really wrap up this season. I've really enjoyed talking to camera, sharing what's going on, things that I feel will be insightful or useful, and I feel that this is that as well. And part of that is sometimes for me, it's a case of going, hey, I love this. I really enjoy sharing and connecting. I've appreciated your comments, and obviously these podcasts will stay up. You can listen to them if there's any particular nuggets or gems that you've gotten out of any episode. Share it around, listen to it again. It will serve as a reminder for you in whatever way that is. But at this point, I have been setting up, you'll notice there's a new look to this video. I've been setting up a little studio so I can get in and actually record at home some of the things I want to in terms of video content, marketing and promotion and that side of things. It's also going to be used as a space that I can actually have people here and take headshots, do some videos, create for other artists, which I'm passionate about as well. Add that to my list of things that I'm doing. And then really one of the main things that came out of my trip to Bali and working on the album is how nice it was to be focused on one thing. Because I wasn't booking shows over there, I didn't even take gear to really do a show. If someone had asked, I had recording microphones, nothing for like a live show, a condenser mic that's going to pick up an entire room and restaurant rather than me singing and performing on stage as such. And it was really nice to have that focus, to have that time to work on my original tunes. I've got 8 tracks sitting on the laptop at the moment with various different parts in them, various notes on whether they're going to get drums, bass, violin, keys, other instruments added into the mix or not. I'm currently pretty torn on whether I should release a EP, if you like, of kind of Bali sessions that's just acoustic, it's just me, maybe a few little snaps and different things in the mix, but fundamentally pretty much like a solo project, which may happen, and then it may also expand into a more full-scale project. So it's been interesting coming back and then really having to make some of those calls so that those tracks don't just stay in the laptop. It's been an interesting juggle coming back into what was my old routine. A lot of live performing, realistically quite a lot of admin with the different projects and things that I'm doing. Obviously all these things I love, and that's great. The reality is also there is a time commitment to sit down, map out the basics of what I'm going to say and share on a podcast, set up a camera, set up some sort of space to record in, sync up audio, do a little edit so it looks nice I was going to say in camera, but in a final video format, and then just genuinely the process of uploading. It's none of those steps on their own are anything major, but what I've been finding and what I noticed from the time in Indonesia was I really thrived with having some more downtime to myself. Obviously, I'm in a lovely space. If you haven't been over to Bali, highly, highly recommend it. The culture and the energy and the vibe there is something I really, really cherish. Just throwing it out there. Maybe you want to book a trip. Who knows? But yeah, the time to just stop for a bit, not be answering emails, not be doing the admin side of things that comes with a lot of live performances, managing your calendar, and keeping up with a bunch of different acts that I'm involved in music-wise for performances was very refreshing. I missed a lot of it too, but it gave me a lot of clarity when I came back and dived back into that setting, which I'm in now, and hence this video wrapping up. We're calling it season 1 of the podcast. I expect it will be back. I have some ideas of potentially some new formats and things that will get shared, and obviously, as always, I take on board some of the comments and things that you've shared back to me, and that's super valuable as well. So really what's next with the changes that are going on for me is getting out of my comfort zone, releasing an album, however that looks, booking tours, and really more than anything narrowing down the specifics of what I do. I'm running a indie singer-songwriter night as well called Last Wednesdays Club. If you're ever in Auckland, we run it the last Wednesday of every month, hence the amazingly creative name. But even with that, having chats and really just streamlining between the team that run it, what is it we're actually offering, and being very clear on that, and what are we not offering, like, in terms of the amount of content that we're filming and recording and what we give to artists. So I feel that's going to be, it's beneficial for us because we know exactly what we've said we will give and contribute. It's also great for the artist because there's just not any miscommunications on what was perceived or expected. And it's been really interesting diving into the difference between what I imagine and perceive and really want to contribute, and having that happen, and also having some clear guidelines around what that actually is, because it's easy for me to get distracted, but it's also easy for me to want to contribute beyond really what I have the capacity to contribute. And then or it's not so much the capacity. I have the capacity to do that, but the capacity then means it's taking away from certain other things, and that's been it's really what I'm chatting about in this video, and I hope you take the same thing away from it for yourself. Is what are the things you're truly committed to? What's the picture of your life that you would really like, and how can that work? And that might mean that you outsource or you hire different people to take on certain roles that takes that pressure off you. It may mean that in certain things you have to say, hey, look, I'm up for this much, but that's my limit at the moment because my focus is really here predominantly. So it's a dance. It's something I'm definitely learning and something I've found challenging. I get excited about so many things. I'm fortunate to feel like I'm good at a lot of things, so I can move in a lot of different directions. And yes, I've spent a lot of time to hone and improve those skills also. But the downside is, uh, it's hard to hold seven different clear focuses. For me at this point in my life, maybe there's people that do it really really well. I suspect there is. I'm not in that space, and really, it's just come to narrowing down the things I really want to contribute while I'm here on this planet. So we may do some unofficial podcasts that sneak in from time to time. It won't be 8 a.m. every week on a Monday if or when those happen. And for now, I'm saying thank you for tuning in and adieu for season one of these chats. I've really enjoyed diving in. I've really enjoyed your comments and the connection. I feel like they've been a really nice way to connect between us, and also just to share and talk about a lot of the things that often aren't talked about. On that note, I'm going to wrap up with one little last thing. I went to see a friend, Graham James, perform Sunday night here in Auckland. I will leave a link to his website. He's an awesome looping artist and just a great human. And he very kindly went through a bunch of what he's been doing with Facebook ads after the show, after packing up, after everyone had left. He still took time to walk through it with myself and the host of Kumu Live, which is Guy, which I know we both really appreciated. And it's one thing that I've wanted to share and contribute in my way, I guess, by doing this podcast, is actually share some of those things, share the details, open up about that side of stuff. And as I was saying earlier in the podcast, that is yet another skill and thing that takes time to learn and understand, which you may want to learn, you may want to entirely outsource. But again, it's another thing I'm fascinated about. And Graham, thanks. I really appreciate you taking the time to share what you've been doing that's been working really well. To have people actually find out about your shows and be able to make a choice of hey, cool, this guy looks like someone I'd be into, I should go. So thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate you all. I'd love to see you. Keep in touch on the website, on Instagram, on YouTube. And no doubt you will see me as these changes unfold.